be live. Okay. So Street Smash was something that I created to host tournaments. Well, me and my friends created it to host tournaments in our local area. And before, so right now I'm showing the first tournament bracket. This was the first ever tournament I played in, and everyone's first tournament basically. It wasn't that many people because we were just starting out, and I just tried to grab whatever friends could join, and it was a pretty simple time back then. It was all the way back in 2018. It's been 2 years since this whole thing started. And in the beginning, as you can tell, I won the first tournament because there wasn't really any crazy competition. I was way better than pretty much everyone I knew at the time. And I basically dominated the first two tournaments. I think this was back when I played Falcon, and it was a very one-sided thing. This was when back when it was called Smash Locals or whatever, just locals, because the whole idea of Street Smash wasn't created till a few tournaments in, which makes sense. I don't think we were. This was before we started streaming, and before the Discord server was made, and before all of that. Before everything, it was just the tournaments, and it was always yeah, it was just first two tournaments. They're pretty one-sided for the most part. Brian, this is I didn't know his name was Brian at the time. He joined this time instead of Joel, who did do second best last time, or the first time tournament. And Brian, he was able to take a set off of me, but then I washed him pretty much, coming from losers, because I was still pretty much by far the best, even though Brian was a lot closer to my level, at least at the time. And then we get to the third tournament. The third tournament is where things started to get interesting. This was back in February. I think the latter half of February, 2018. So does it say the date? I don't believe it does. It was probably actually more in the middle. And this tournament, see, as you can tell, I got second this time. And this was quite unusual because I would play with my friends, and every time I would pretty much dominate. But there's this new guy. He his name's Bill, as you can probably see. He was on another level compared to everybody else, by far. And it was to the point where he just dominated everybody. I was the closest to beating him, but even then I couldn't take a set off of him. And not to mention this tournament, right? I didn't know who Bill was, so I underseeded him by a lot. And also I got upset by this guy named Darius, and he's very well known for not being that good. Like, he was okay, I think, back in Smash 4, because this was back in Smash 4. He's an okay player back in Smash 4. He was able to do, something. He's able to do something. He's able to take some wins off certain people. And his big win, I think this is still his best win, like ever. It was on me, and he was able to take the set on me. This was before I started streaming. I think I'm gonna switch to like going to watch the tournaments, whenever they correspond with what I'm talking about, probably. And well, yeah, it was very rough for me, but it was okay. I made a huge losers run, destroying everybody, literally 2-0ing everybody, because I think this was at the time where I was still figuring out the rule set and how I was going to do things. So I just had everything best of 3. Everything was best of 3 until Grands. This would like change later on, but this is how it was in the beginning. And Raimundo comes in here. I also spelled his name wrong because I didn't know how to spell his name. He comes in here because he was second seed, because previously I believed that he was the second best. Like yeah, I would beat him, but he could beat Bry. And Bry was a little closer to my level. So then, therefore he's like second best or whatever. Shit. He was second best, but and he proved that up until lose it to Bill. Then that's when things started getting rocky. It was pretty obvious at that point that Bill, there's something special about him, at least like compared to everybody else. And then you get to the tournament afterwards. After that one, it was also in February. I think this was at the time because I really wanted to beat Bill, so then I hosted another tournament like right away to like try to just grind it out, figure out something. And this tournament, luckily, I was able to take a set off of him, but I had to lose a set to Bry first, because this was like really the start of Bry being one of my demons, just being someone like who would always like cut me off in bracket, like constantly. Like I could try to make a run or whatever, and then he would just cut me off every time. Like maybe not every time, but a good amount of time it would happen, and it was actually quite frustrating, to be honest, because it would happen. He was consistently giving me close sets, while also like actually taking the sets off me from time to time. And it was even more frustrating because he couldn't take a set off Bill. Like the entirety of Smash 4, you'll see that Bry he could not he couldn't even like get nearly close enough to like beating Bill at all in Smash 4. Like he would always lose to him. He would beat me, and then he would fight him, and then he would lose. That's kind of what happened here, but I was able to come back from losers, take a set off of Bill this time, but then I couldn't take a second set, so then Bill won. This was like the era, this is when Bill was most dominant, and I think this is where the whole Street Smash idea like started to come into play. It started to slowly like the name started to come in, and this was the first streamed match, actually, the streamed tournament, and it went okay, like for top. I love how it says top 8. it went okay for considering everything, like the fact that I never really streamed before. At least like not a full tournament. And it was overall rough, for at least for me. For me, I ended up getting third. And in grand finals, it was Bryant and Bill. They were fighting in grands. This was when Bill was like further establishing his dominance on everyone. And this is when like since Bill was clearly the best at the time, just showing off that in his first tournament, it really stuck with everybody. I think he was the talk of the town. And not only was he like the best at the time, he was also probably the he probably had the most intricate combos as well. Like he had probably by far the best punish game out of everybody, which made his play even more interesting to watch. Yeah, he ended up winning that tournament as well. And then, let's see. This one was a small tournament. This one's pretty irrelevant. I think this was like, I think this is the first time I took a set off Bill in winners. But it was pretty, you know. It wasn't a big deal. It was only a 4-player tournament. Bill won that. But I was slowly getting closer and closer to like beating him, at least winning a tournament, and it ultimately culminated to this tournament where I actually won. Let's see, which one? I have no idea which one this is. I think it's this one. I think this is the first one that I actually took. Oh yeah, it for sure was. Yeah. This was after, cause okay, so up until that point, I played Captain Falcon and Cloud. I switched to Cloud after I lost to Bill, because I saw Darius was playing Cloud, and he did fairly well with him. So, you know, I decided to just try out Cloud, because, you know, Cloud seemed to be effective. But then I remembered that I actually used to play Marth at one point, and I decided to play him, and it actually worked out, because just 2 tournaments after I did that, I made that decision. I think it was the second tournament I actually played Marth. I ended up winning. And I think this was what kind of established the whole rivalry between me and Bill. This was like the main big story, I would say, at that point. Because up until that point, I don't think there was any crazy good players beneath us. It was like, you know, Mundo being like 3rd best or whatever at the time. Consistently doing that, you know, being around that level. And oh yeah, there was also the whole thing where like Josh, he was a player that I think he played in his first tournament was the 8-man tournament. He got last, and all of Smash 4 he didn't take a single W. I don't think. Actually no, he took a W off of one person, but that person wasn't like really relevant. So Josh ended up not taking a single like solid W, and it was so funny like every time, because every time he would scream and yell like in his matches, and it was so funny. And then we get to here is another Bill tournament. He won. Then we get to June. This was actually Bill's last Street Smash tournament that he won. Or, not Street Smash, Smash 4 tournament that he won. And this being his last tournament that he won in Smash 4, you know, he won it from losers over Raymundo. And legit, if Raymundo like just took one more game off of him after he got it to go to game 5 both times, like he would have actually taken a W. But he couldn't clutch it out both times. And me as well, I actually couldn't clutch it out either against Bill. And this was actually, I think this was the first time that Raymundo actually took a set off me. Because up until this point, my record against Raymundo was so dominant. And he was like the third best. So then every time he would have to fight me, if I would go to get sent to losers. So then that would consistently happen. So then I would have an extreme record against him. I'll show off that, like, all the records later. And this was the end of June was actually the start of when I became number 1. It was this tournament. This tournament was the start. I won it without dropping a single set. I beat Raymundo. I beat like the top all my like top 3 like opponents. Everybody, the person who was above me and the person who was right below me in rankings. Raymundo easily dispatched Nasir and Darius. They weren't nearly at his level, but Nasir actually got pretty close to beating Raymundo. That would have been a pretty big upset and a really good win on Nasir's part, but he couldn't clutch it out. And then we get to here, July, another 8-man event. I actually win from losers. This one was, I think, Bry's last tournament, because up until I think then, Bry and I were actually even, and this was still when Bill was number 1. And Bill actually looked like he was about to win the whole tournament, but I was able to make a pretty decent losers run. Well, it was not really much of a losers run. It was just like I was able to double eliminate Bill to win 2 tournaments in a row. I think this is like my longest streak ever. This is the last time I've ever won, like the first and last time that I won 3 tournaments in a row. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I just here is actually an interesting point. This is when Alexi comes into play. He actually was a really solid player back in Smash 4. He still is a solid player now, but he was he was way closer to everybody at the top back then. And you could see this in the fact that he 2-0'd Bill, which was absolutely insane. Hold on, let me see if I can find the tournament. I believe it was this one. Yeah, it was. Actually, wait. while I'm at it, this was Josh's like last chance, or like to get a decent win. He actually almost beat like Yanuel, but Yanuel actually ended up clutching it in the end. I don't think this was the last game. It was like I think it was. Was this last game? No, this was the last game. I'm pretty sure. No, wait, it wasn't. Was it? Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, all Josh had to do was get one good hit in. One good hit. But he wasn't able to clutch it out. I don't think I think he didn't really go for grabs much then. If he actually just went for a grab, I think he would have won the whole entire set, but he couldn't do it. He just kept going for attacks because he was like nervous and panicking. I think this was Yeno's first tournament as well, and he didn't want to get last, obviously, as you could tell, and he was able to win. That's it. Because Alexi and Yeno are brothers, so yeah. Alexi beat Josh previously, so, and then his brother, they both took him out. No, but Alexi, he was able to not only win against Bill, but he actually took me to game 5. And this was at the point where I was kind of showing that, like, hey, I'm number 1 now. I'm the best. I don't think I was even playing Marth this tournament. I was playing Mario. But my Mario was fairly solid. And he played Sheik, which was so weird because usually you wouldn't see a Sheik. And not only wouldn't you usually wouldn't see a Sheik, at least at our tournaments, but this was like a decent Sheik somehow. Like, he wasn't doing anything like crazy, but it was solid. Like, or at least it was solid, like, in play. Like, fighting against it was solid. Even though some of the, like, choices in movement, like going for some random smash attacks or whatever, wasn't solid. It was actually pretty hard to fight against. So I went to a game 5, and then after this, Bill came up from losers, beating Alexi in the second set, because Alexi couldn't, recreate what he did in the beginning. And I ended up just 3-0ing Bill. Bill did not go Kirby, but yeah, Bill didn't go Kirby this tournament. So it was kind of like, but I also didn't go Marth, so it was kind of like of a tournament, but it was still like, it still counted. But I wouldn't say it was like the most valuable win I've ever had. And here is another interesting tournament where we see the come up of Damon. Damon is actually probably the best player right now. No, not probably. He is the best player at this moment out of everyone. At least for Ultimate, which is the game we're currently playing. And this is where he comes up. This is his first tournament, and he kind of does a similar thing to Bill, and he actually wins the tournament. However, while it is a good win, it does not mean nearly as much as when Bill won, or even like any other tournaments that I've won, because this set against Damon, I won DK. And then the rest, he had to fight Mundo, which is still a good win, but he didn't. He dodged Bill, and he dodged fighting like a regular set with me. And losers, I played 2 regular sets. I had a close set, and yeah, Joel, got 5th or whatever, and so did Lewis. And yeah, this was the last set I fought Bill in Smash, not Smash Ultimate, Smash 4. I won game 5. I think he reverse 3-0'd me, I'm pretty sure. I was playing Mario for most of it, and I think I played Marth last game, but my Marth was a little bit sloppy because I was playing DK and Mario, characters that, I hadn't really practiced nearly as much as Marth. So then I lost that set, and then Bill actually got double eliminated by Raimundo this event. This was actually a really hype, moment on both sides, and it was really cool to watch. But sadly, Mundo couldn't take more than just a game off of Damon. since he didn't really have a good character that could deal with range, and he himself wasn't like that good of a player against like solid range. And for the final Street Smash tournament, at least like Smash 4 one, for the final Smash 4 tournament that we had, this was right before Ultimate came out, and this was the final one. And if I didn't win this one, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have been number one, but it would have been weird, because like I was winning most of the tournaments and doing like, yeah, I was winning most of the tournaments before this point, since like the latter half of June, and then I won a few tournaments back before, earlier on in the year. So yeah. Then we get, yeah. I just like blinked out. Okay, so in winners finals, I fought Damon. I lost 3-1, and then I had to fight Alexi, who was actually going on a tear, and he had his first top 4 win, which was Raimundo. Which was funny because he actually lost to Lewis early on in the event, which made Lewis, like, I think this was like the start of Lewis actually becoming a higher level player, because he was always getting like 5th or whatever until that point. But this was like the start of his rise. And I think this was also the tournament which showed the kind of like the fall, or like the clearly showed off the stagnation of Raimundo. I think Yanuel was kind of like showing off what he could do a little bit better, because he actually had better opponents to fight that were more around his level. And then it was, yeah, so Alexi made a run, beat his brother. Then it was me versus Alexi, and this set was a really interesting set, because I think this tournament, Alexi played Sonic, which he didn't really play before. And it was funny because I think I started off DK in this set, and I think I took the first game, and then I switched to Marth. I'm pretty sure. And he was actually really close to beating me, like really close. Like he I think he was up 2-1 at one point, if I'm correct. And I think everyone at this point, I don't know if this was because it was the last tournament, or if it was because like the set was really close, or whatnot. But it was really, really hype. It was probably one of the hypest sets. A lot of the hypest sets actually happened near the end of Smash 4, which was pretty interesting. I'm not exactly sure what caused it, but I think it's because just like a part of it has to do with like the fact that there was more upsets happening, and like there's more people there. Oh yeah, I taunted. That was funny. No, yeah, it was like a pretty hype set, and this was like right before like my grand finals, because I had, since I was in losers now, I had to like win from then. I had to win from losers, so if I didn't take this set, it would have been really bad for me. I would have like not been number 1. I think I would have been number 2, and that would have been pretty lame, because I was like I was so close to that point. And to just like be left at second after everything would have been really crappy. So yeah, I ended up taking the set 3-2, and then I fought Damon after that, and this was like after everyone left, so it wasn't. It was still, I feel like, a fairly hyped grand finals, but like it was mostly just like online watching. Yeah, like Galax says, like the ultimate battle starts. Like, and I would say this was actually probably one of the, like, at least the second set. The second set was probably one of the best Smash 4 sets, like, out of all the ones that were played, like, at least in Street Smash, because it was so close. It was back, like, it was, I think it was a reverse 3-0. Actually, what led up to this point was, so I was down 3-2, or I was down 2-0. Actually, I was down 2-0. Because I 3-0'd Damon first set, and then I was about to lose the second set. And what was funny is that the thing that gave me the momentum I needed was actually the most goofy, like, hitbox ever. Let's see. Oh wait, it wasn't goofy, but like, he missed a tech. He missed a tech, and oh my gosh, like, 'cause I would in this, at this moment, this moment. I remember I was so drained, like, I was about to get 3-0'd, and I was like, okay, like, I just need one game. Give me one game, and I'll take it the whole way. Just one game. And I was so lucky that he didn't tech that. Because if he teched that, and there's a good enough chance that he might have won. But I was able to clutch it out in the end, and you could hear that I like popped off. it was kind of funny. No, but because of that tech, or because of that missed tech, it led to the like ultimate like my greatest reverse 3-0 like so far. Or one of my greatest 3-0s, like, that I've ever been, or probably one of the best sets that I've had on stream. Like, yeah, because after this point, like, if you notice, like, you can see that I was just like, I was hyped up. I was so hyped up, dude. Oh my gosh, I was feeling it now. I just need that one game to like wake me up. And then I was just playing hot. I was playing so freaking good, dude. At least like for my skill at that time, I was playing so hot. Oh my god, dude. Fucking like, seriously, it was fucking amazing. I just like, I took game to game to game. It was like, I mean, it wasn't a 2-stock, but like, I was landing the tippers too. Like, you try to go for a side B, and then I had perfect spacing. Everything was perfect. Then it went to last game. This was the last game. Like, I've been dying to like show off this play, because this play was probably like one of the smartest plays I've ever like had, like, at least on stream. Like, one of the dopest plays ever. And it was this one over here. This is one of my favorite plays, like, and it was right here, I think. No, not right here. It would be coming up in a second. Okay. Okay, when he comes back, that's when the play will come. I think. Yeah, because... Okay, so if you notice, every time I do a jab, I'll do, like, some sort of attack afterwards, right? And... It's just like that conditioning, just like that in the moment, in the zone type, like, thing. And this was, like, Game 5. This was Game 5. And, like, for me to do this was just, like, which is wild. Like, I did the jab, and then I went for the re-grab, because I knew that I wouldn't have enough percent otherwise. And it was just so sick. It was like, it's like one of those small little plays, but it's just like, it was so, like, big brain. And then I think the way I took it in the end was just through an edge guard, pretty much. Yeah, it was just an edge guard, and that was it. That was how the final tournament of Smash 4 ended. And I felt really good that day because I knew that I was going to be number 1. And I was like, yo, I'm so sick. And it was so cool. I felt so good that day, right? Okay, you're right, maybe a little bit. But this was my moment. And because I'm just basking in the glory in this moment because, you know, it was the first time. It was the first time where, like, I was really number 1 or whatever. And I got to, like, enjoy it. While I started off number 1 in Ultimate, I ended off as number 2, and then at least first year, and then this year, I'm still not number 1. I'm like 2 or 3. But I'll go over that, like, in another stream. So yeah, as you can see, I had greens and yellows. Even though you could argue Bill was number 1, he didn't fight Damon, and he had more losses during window. And he also had the even record against Alexi, so yeah. And then there was Damon. Damon was there, but he didn't attend enough. And he didn't have any crazy good records to, like, argue for him for number 1, so he was just put as number 3. Then there was Raimundo. Raimundo had pretty much wins over everybody he played except Alexi and Damon. But Alexi wasn't that major because they only fought once. Damon, it was a little bit more of a big deal, but Damon was, you know, really solid, so it wasn't a big deal, actually. Oh, wow, I just realized that the numbers don't match. Oops. Pretty sure it should be 3. And then there was Bri. Bri was even, but he stopped attending. And then there was Alexi. I just wish that, because things at this point were, like, really, like, going up for, like, overall, not just for me, but, like, I felt like things were really hype at this point. And there was the new game. The new game, things were pretty interesting, kind of. But I don't feel like it was nearly as interesting as Smash 4 was. But I think a part of that had to do with, like, it was only 1 year. It was the last year of Smash 4. So yeah. I remember those days where, like, back then, when it was so interesting because you didn't really know everybody. So then, like, you never know when there would be just some random new guy who has been playing the game about as long as you have or whatever, and they show up and then they just take a tournament and just start destroying everybody. When that happens, like, it's so exciting because then it's like a new obstacle comes. a new challenge, and I feel like as of right now, you don't get that as much because things are more established now. Things are actually like, yeah, they're way more established now than they were before. And I think like things weren't as high quality, but they were like overall like in terms of like production or whatever, but like it was very and there wasn't as many people as there is now overall. But I feel like everyone, or I feel like it was just a bunch of homies just hanging out, playing some Smash, and then having some cool ass plays against each other, and it was overall just like a good time. It was a very like homey thing. It's very fun. And sadly, right now we can't have something like that because of like COVID. But you know, once COVID, you know, that issue is solved, and we get to like 2021 or whatever, and we can start having local tournaments all the time again, I think we'll kind of get that whole thing going on again. Because there wasn't really the ability to have as many local tournaments as there were last year and the year before. And I think this first year was like, while it didn't bring that many crazy like new players or whatever, but like it had enough players where it was like, it was interesting, it was fun, and yeah, it was overall just very fun. Now it's like you'll have you might have a new player come up, but because everyone's better now, they won't be able to dominate as hard. And like usually, from what I've seen so far, just even in like Ultimate, because Smash 4 there wasn't enough time for there to be anything like this, you know, because you know it was just brand new. There isn't really that much room, or so far it just hasn't happened where there'll be like a newer player who was kind of like okay or whatever, rise up and be like better than everyone else. I think the closest we've gotten to that so far was this player Giovanni. Giovanni was actually really bad when I first played him, but around the end he was actually getting around peak level. Well, not peak level, but he was getting like to the level where he could actually take sets off of like the higher level Street Smash players, and it was actually starting to get interesting actually. But he stopped playing. I don't know if it was because he got bored or what, but it was actually really interesting because he was the first. He was kind of like setting an example of like how to rise up, because it was his first year of like competing in the Street Smash tournaments, and he was doing really solid. I think another player that also did something similar but not to the same degree was Antonio. Antonio was another player who started off pretty bad but got at least okay. Sadly though, that improvement really started to slow down because like just like his mentality towards the game. Overall, I feel like it just slowed things down immensely. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that, and that's not why. But I feel like that was definitely a large part. Oh yeah, another player that also kind of rose up was Lewis, but he was kind of like always kind of like right outside the peak level, at least like to a certain degree. But he has gotten better. I feel like, especially in Ultimate's first year, he really made it to this point where he was starting to challenge the peak. But I think after, like, not too long after that point, he started to regress back to the point that he was before. And like maybe he didn't like actually regress and like everybody just got better, but like he couldn't keep up anymore. And it was really disappointing because he actually almost won a tournament. Like the other two, like they were kind of like rising up and stuff, but he was the only one who actually almost won a tournament. And he was actually like one hit away, but he SD'd. I think he choked and SD'd at the end, and it was really sad because he never really got up to that point again. He kind of like he matched that level where Raimundo had gone to, but he just couldn't get past that wall. And maybe one day like he will get past it, maybe. But as of right now, he hasn't gotten past that point. I think it would be really cool to see like some newer player like really rise up, because I've seen some players like start to get into the game and then improve a little bit, but then they stop grinding, and it's like, dude, you should really keep playing. Like you'll actually get pretty good. Less camping. Camping. Yeah, if you played more, dude, you'd get really good. You know, I feel like there's a good amount of players like that at this point that are like that. And it would be so cool because it would make things really interesting. Because the way, like, what I would like is to, like, of course raise the ceiling, but, like, I feel like the ceiling is high enough at this point. Like, it's okay. It's an okay ceiling for, like, high school smashers. I want to see the floor. Like, the bottom level players, I want to see the lower level players be actually pretty decent. That's what I would like to see, honestly. That'd be really cool. I think it would make things a lot more interesting, and I think there'd be a lot more upset potential at that point. It'd be really fun too. Yeah. I don't know. I guess this is where I'm just gonna leave it off. To those of you who decided to watch this, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed at least a little bit. Probably wasn't like the best educational wise, because you know I'm a little bit biased, because you know I was one of the people in the first year who was doing really well, so I got like hyped up over myself. But it was yeah. If you are thinking about getting into Ultimate and like trying to play in the tournaments, like if you're from here and you're thinking about getting into the tournaments and like trying to get better and stuff, I think you should really go for it. I think it would be really cool to see you rise up and get better. It would make things very fun and interesting, and I would like to play you. It'd be fun. And I'd like to see you, find your own success, even if you don't play the game forever, obviously. But it would be cool to see you like rise up and really challenge those at the top here. Anyways, see ya.